All right, it's time for another beer, rum, and rock rock shot. This time, we're reviewing Iron Maiden's 17th studio album, Senjutsu. Senjutsu, loosely translated from Japanese, means tactics and strategy. It's the band's first studio album in nearly 6 years, making it the longest gap between two Maiden studio albums. And it's their second double album, the first being 2015's Book of Souls. The band's lineup remains unchanged since 2000 and consists of Bruce Dickinson vocals, Steve Harris bass and keyboards, the triple guitar attack of Dave Murray, Adrian Smith, and Yannick Gers, and the always solid Nico McBrain on drums. Kevin Shirley co-produces the album with Steve Harris, as he has for the last 5 Maiden albums. He also mixes the album, which consists of 10 brand new tracks. Well, as you guys can see, Beau couldn't make it on this one. So I got the biggest Iron Maiden fan I know, and he just happens to be a good friend of mine for the past, 20 fucking years or so. Mr. John Garner, welcome, man, and thanks for co-hosting with me.
Randy, are you kidding me? When you messaged me and said, "Hey, unfortunately, Beau's not going to be able to do this. Would you be interested?" I was terrified and honored all at the same time. I'm loving what you guys are doing with the whole podcast. So yeah, I'm thrilled. This is going to be a lot of fun.
That's good to hear, man. We're branching out. We're bringing some more people into the family is what we're kind of doing here. And man, when I think Iron Maiden, I think of you immediately. You're the reason I've been backstage at 5 Iron Maiden shows, starting with Somewhere Back in Time. So you are more than fucking welcome.
Fair's fair. All credit goes to Helena, Bruce's sister, for hooking us up.
Absolutely, dude. Now, I know your job takes you all over the world. Where are you right now, man?
I'm currently in Ocala, Florida, enjoying the heat and humidity down here. And it's been busy. It's been a bit of a whirlwind year. Been very lucky, for sure. With a lot of people have been in difficult situations the last almost 2 years. I've been very fortunate to be able to sort of keep plying the trade and listening to some kick-ass music all at the same time.
That sounds great, man. Yeah, I'm lucky too. Knock on wood. My background is busy, but it needs a little work Iron Maiden wise. You're kicking my ass here. I've got the McFarlane figure and the beer. That's it.
I was digging through my bins, pulling out my t-shirts and thinking, okay, how can I set this up? So I dusted off the 2 guitars that haven't been played in I don't know how long. And on the Funko Pops, all credit to those go to Nicole, my daughter. She saw those, and between her and her brother Thomas, they got those for me. And as you can see, I also have the collection of beers, which I actually got imported into Canada and brought down with me. And in honor of tonight,
hello,
we're going with the Fear of the Dark stout, English stout, 4.5. This is my first tasting. Never tried it before. I thought I'd save it for tonight. And
nice.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers. Yeah, right on.
Ooh.
I haven't seen that one.
This is not going to last long.
Right on. That's the idea. Okay, man, let's get down to it. So why don't we start just briefly talk about your love of this band and their music, and then segue into how this album slots in with the rest of their catalog. What did you think of Senjutsu?
Let me do the first bit first, and I'll come back to the second bit. I would say my incoming into Maiden, like fully in, was Number of the Beast. And where I grew up in the Midlands in the UK, we had so many concert areas that we could go to, different venues. I saw the Beast on the Road tour in Leicester de Montfort Hall. I don't even know if it's still there anymore. But man, what a great old venue to see a show. And the whole thing just blew me away. The record blew me away. I dabbled, to take a phrase from you, like with Running Free and Women in Uniform, but I did not own Iron Maiden and Killers at that time.
I'm a bit surprised to hear that. Actually. I thought you were going to be first album guy,
No, not at all. And I think maybe I hadn't quite tuned my ears to it. That opening on Number of the Beast. Woe to you, O earth and sea. I mean, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
hey, like this is something going on here. Gangland, Invaded. Right. I know. I mean, there's lots of people online watching this are going, "Are you kidding me? Those songs are no, they were great."
I like them too, dude.
Yep. At least for me. And I steal some of your thunder here. I know Hallowed Be Thy Name is, if it's not still, has always been your favorite track. So
yes, sir, it is.
That was it for me. Hook, line, and sinker. And when I get in on a band, it takes a pretty special effort to get me off the bandwagon. And I've never gone anywhere. They've had dips for me, like obviously like a lot of bands. I mean, I can stomach the Blaze era. I mean, I think Blaze is a great singer. The albums didn't really do it for me. But, I mean, my favorite song is just Fear of the Dark. I love the track. From the moment I heard it the first time, again, completely sold. My love of the band has just gone from strength to strength, I would say.
Again, I'm surprised it wasn't earlier, but I'm a Number of the Beast too. Unfortunately, I did not see that concert. Peace of Mind was my first. And then I saw every tour up to Seventh Son. Then I took a break. Then when Adrian Smith left and then Bruce left, I kind of took a break and I didn't see them live again until that Somewhere Back in Time.
Right.
I guess to sum up for me too, what I love about them is they never let you down. I don't love every album like I do the classic stuff, let's say, but the merch is always good. The documentaries are good. The shows are fucking over the top good. They don't clunk it out, right? They don't put out a stinker,
no,
in my opinion.
No. Like you say, everything they do, if the name Iron Maiden is attached to it, it's going to be quality.
Okay, man, we better get to this album.
Let's get to this album.
So let's talk about it, man. So I'll let you go first. Give me your thoughts and tell me where it ranks with all their other albums. I mean, it is their 17th, I believe.
Absolutely incredible. And what are we into, 5 decades? First off, I'm going to quote Lemmy and then go from there. Love the Head. I know you love the Head. And Lemmy, iconic. But his opening line, every show, we are Motorhead and we play rock and roll. I can imagine Bruce and Steve sitting in a room or coming to some agreement saying, we are Iron Maiden and we do what we want and we don't care.
We have 0 fucks to give.
0. Do not care. They want the fans. They want us. They want their music buying fans to appreciate their music. I get it. But in the end, they actually don't care. They are so into what they're doing. And I think Senjutsu underlines that, puts it in bold, neon fucking lights. Here you go. This is what we're doing. Yeah. This is where we're at. Kind of hope you enjoy it. Actually, don't give a flying fuck. And to be honest, when you asked me to do this, I'm really glad it took us a couple of days to get organized, because it gave me a chance to really, really get in and listen to it. Because I told you this in our earlier conversation, is that I was driving down to Florida and I was like, hey, I'll listen to Senjutsu. I got, a few hours to kill on the road here. And I want to say 2/3 of the way through, I had to change tack. I mean, it was not driving music, man.
You're heading into the ditch.
Oh, it was like, what song are we on? Because it literally just went from one to the next.
John, I think what you mean to say is it gallops from one song to the next.
Oh, there were a couple of trot changes in there, let me tell you. But anyway, and I'm really happy I took the time, because I have shifted tack, shall we say, on where I'm at with this. They could have just as easily, I think, have produced another Piece of Mind, and wouldn't have been totally surprised if it had completely kicked ass and been awesome, and they didn't. they, they just said, okay, this is what we're doing now. I don't know whether there is as a carryover from Book of Souls. That was another one that took me, a few listenings to get into. I would say, Randy, it would not be my gateway record into somebody to put them into Iron Maiden. I would start off with some other things, but understand how you get to transition to this. And one of the things I was asked almost all the way through my life, even until very recently, is when are you going to grow up and stop listening to this teenage music? Well, first of all, never.
Fuck that.
Like, are you kidding me?
What does that even mean?
Exactly. What does that mean? I mean, hard rock, heavy metal, yeah, for sure. It's got that, I would say, that sort of that more sort of teenage vibe or young adult vibe. But it's the music that you and I grew up with. It's the music that we love. It drives you. I mean, you put on the right songs and it's just all on. Although I know we're both pretty eclectic in where we are with our music. The reason I bring that up is Maiden, if nothing else, are producing, quote, mature metal. That's how I would put it. The songcraft is off the charts. I could do with a smidge less keyboard here and there, but I'm not going to argue with Steve Harris on it. It fits. I mean, it's like you've got this team that are just so well drilled into what they do. It's just brilliant. It really is. It's brilliant. It's a great record.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Harris, let's face it, it's his band. And yeah, they go down these rabbit holes, but not too far. He keeps it on the Iron Maiden track at the same time, right? But yeah, I agree with you. The keyboards are a little up front for me, but that's nitpicky shit. I find it challenging, and I'll tell you why. And this is on me, and Iron Maiden's not the only band. I have a hard time putting those first 7 albums out of my head.
Yeah.
Because that's my goal. I'm going to go there every time. When they put out a new album, I'm always comparing it. And it's really unfair, right? To your point, it's different. I mean, since 2000, when Bruce and Adrian came back, they've been on a different trajectory, right? Like it's more progressive, it's more complicated.
Yep.
And overall, I just don't connect with it as much. I get a lot out of it, but even from Fear of the Dark on, I don't think they put out a wall-to-wall kick-ass album. Like I cherry pick tracks, I'll just admit it. Like Fear of the Dark, that song is fantastic. Yeah, but I'm doing this. I mean, I get all the albums, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know Final Frontier start to finish. I don't know those albums the way I know that classic stuff. I almost have to force myself to listen to it, right? Like you got to just, okay, I'm going to listen to this album 10 times in a row. And I haven't done that with this one yet. So maybe this review, maybe 6 months from now might be a little bit different.
You got to listen to it a little bit more. And I think ultimately that's the key for me. You got to listen to these guys.
That sounds like duh, but that applies to me for sure. Like I'm a bit lazy, even though as much as I love the band, I keep going back to that classic era. Just, I love it so much. It's just hard to forget. Right.
Oh, for sure.
So it's a struggle listening to this newer stuff, but hey, let's focus on the positive. Hey, what's wild, and this isn't a good or bad thing. This album was done 2 years ago. Hey, finished.
Incredible.
And done.
Incredible.
Like what?
Right? I saw an interview with Nico that had said we were sworn to secrecy, excuse me, easy for me to say. Steve had the only copy for ages, then eked it out to Bruce and the rest of the band. And it's like, we can't talk to anybody about this. Are you kidding me? Like, I've been sweating my nuts off on this record, right?
Sign your life away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another positive thing, I think the artwork's fucking cool. That's going to make a cool t-shirt and some cool merch, right? There's that.
Oh, absolutely. Iconic is the Maiden artwork. Like you say, the t-shirts are just going to be, just take my money now.
Hey, you mentioned Nico. His drumming is fucking killer on this album. Like the songs or not, his drumming is unreal.
And right out of the gate, right, with the opening track, Senjutsu. And my thing, like initially, I was like, okay, I'm into this. Because I hadn't done any back checking on what the album was. I was just like, okay, I'm just playing it. As the song started to go on, I just did a cursory glance over at my screen and saw that it was 7 some minutes in length. I can't remember exactly what it is. I probably should have that number. And I'm like, oh, I know what we're gonna get here.
That's right.
I see. I get it. All right, away we go. Do your thing, boys. And it's epic. Just a great lead-off track.
Yeah, it is. And that's a short one.
Middle of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road. Yeah. And Bruce, let's talk about Bruce again. Yeah, sure. You're always going to say, you're going to qualify it by saying how old he is and all this stuff, but he sounds great.
I mean, again, geez, how old is he? He's like, mid 60s. How do you keep that level of intensity? I actually think, for me personally, I think he's sort of mid to lower register is stronger. And I love him sitting in there. It feels sometimes when he goes up where he lives or has lived, it feels a little bit like, oh, hold on here. It's just, yeah, it's awesome. It's so good.
He sounds a bit more like he does on his solo stuff, I was thinking. I don't know what triggered that, but just there's a bit of a different thing going on, and those choruses were great too. It's a bit different. It's not his usual air raid siren thing.
It feels like a broader range, which probably these songs require. There's lows and mids, and then it comes up, and then it comes down, and it's it's just not that constant barrage.
Right, and it sounds good. I mean, Kevin Shirley's done their last, I don't know, whatever, 5 albums or whatever the hell it is. It's a bit raw. It's not as slick as the Martin Birch stuff, which I prefer, obviously, but yes, it still sounds good. It sounds good.
Yeah, I think it sounds fantastic.
Comparing it to Book of Souls, because that's the other double album, this one's got more variety on it for me. It's more complex too, I thought. I didn't love Book of Souls, I'm not going to lie. Well,
the Guardian newspaper from the UK, the newspaper of the hall ploy, an eccentric masterpiece. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. That's pretty good. I mean, they went to the, basically the top of the charts all over the place. What it shows to me is just the depth of passion that Maiden fans have for this band. They're buying the record
and dissecting every note.
I got to give a quick shout out to an old friend of mine. I was in the army with Rob McLaughlin, and he listens to the show. He has bought it 8 different ways. I mean, the guy's insane. Wow. But I'm like, well, appreciate it, Rob. Now I don't feel like too cheap of just having the digital copy, but I anticipate at some point I'll have the vinyl. But I mean, he's got the Trooper's Rest in his basement is his bar, just full on Maiden stuff all the time. I messaged him quickly and said, hey, what's your thoughts on this record? Stunning, brilliant. I bought it 8 times. Okay, we'll leave it there, Robbie. Thank you.
Steve Harris is as bad as Gene Simmons, man. Let's face it. In terms of that stuff, they'll buy it. They'll buy everything, man. Exactly. Let's talk about a couple more tracks. Like of course, so far I'm leaning towards the first half, the shorter songs.
Right.
Like Time Machine, I thought was cool and a bit different. I don't know if you remember that one. And how about Darkest Hour, that ballad, which never ramps up. Usually there's slower stuff. Eventually, it's going to take off, and it really doesn't. So that was kind of cool, I thought.
Here's my notes, and I'm just going to read my notes. The Time Machine, 7 minutes. Slow opening, brackets, again. Mid-tempo, good melodies. I like the melodies. 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Tempo change, very Maiden. And a quick note there, a la Fear of the Dark, and I put 4 stars. Anything that circles back to this bad boy is okay for me. Could lose the keyboards, meh. 4 minutes 30 seconds. Change again, grinding riffs. So they went into that sort of that grinding area. 4:55, back again, and then I put a little note about 17 time changes. A little exhausting. Great song, loved it. I thought that was a killer track. And then The Darkest Hour, threatening opening. I put that threatening. And then I made this note, feels like it's going to unleash, but doesn't. They've got a strong bridle on it. It just stays, right? That's one of their tricks, if you will, because you know at any given time, okay, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
The gallop's gonna start.
oh, yeah, it didn't.
I didn't mind that.
No, I think that's part of the brilliance. We're not going to give you what you're expecting.
I also historically have liked Bruce and Adrian's songwriting when they get together.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Writing on the Wall, that first single with the video and stuff, I was caught off guard a little bit, man. Like I could hear Southern rock in it and all sorts of like, what are they doing? But the more I listen to it, I kind of dig it. It's not typical Maiden. And I guess that's the whole fucking point.
It's funny you bring up the Southern rock thing, because I like heard it straight away when it came out. My cousin Christian, again, another fan of the show, he sent it to me. He's like, hey, it's out. And I listened to it like, huh, okay. Yeah, interesting. It's definitely Maiden. And then I'd seen somebody else mention the Southern rock thing. And I was like, I'm calling bullshit on that. And then I listened to it again and went, oh, okay.
Just a pinch.
I get it.
Just a pinch, John.
Was that a slide in there? Did you go
Right?
Stormy Mayday on me? I wish you had. That would have been awesome. You have to figure that song's coming in the live show at the expense of what? And then what's the longevity, right? Because, again, going back to Fear of the Dark, that's now become a staple. You have to play it. Does Writing on the Wall become that? Time will tell. It'll probably speed up a little bit.
Maybe.
It'll be interesting to see how that one plays out live.
And if you love guitar solos, I think there's enough on this fucking album. There's some cool soloing going on, man. If you're into guitar solos and guitars, buckle up because there's a lot of it.
I've got it sort of basically in my notes all over the place, like solo, great, awesome solo. Solo is pretty cool. I'm going to sort of jump ahead the Parchment. A couple of the stories out there, the Bruce and Steve, they love Jethro Tull, Genesis. There are these pieces in there. I'm going to throw this one out to you. And the Proclaimers. You go listen to the Parchment after this show, and you tell me that the opening doesn't pay homage to 500 Miles. It gets off it very quickly, but I'm telling you, it's there. And it's got this sort of East Asia theme. It's slow again. It's moody. It's dark. And then away we go. We get into that sort of mid-tempo Maiden thing. But at 9:53, I just made a note, away we go. I mean, this is Steve doing his thing. This is Dave and Adrian and Yannick. I mean, you could just see them in that studio just ripping. Again, the musicianship is just excellent. But I'm sure there's periods of time, too, when they're like, okay, can we take the brakes off this thing? Can we go a little bit?
Well, you mentioned playing that stuff live. How do they keep that all in there, man, with all those time changes and shit? Oh, man. Okay, I want to talk about what I don't like.
Okay. All right.
Enough of this praise.
Enough of the praise.
I mean, it's Iron Maiden. Like you said, the musicianship's through the roof, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not a big prog guy. Like, I like Pink Floyd and Rush, and that's pretty much where it ends. Like, I'm not an old school Genesis guy. I don't really like Yes. I like 2 songs, maybe. Not into Dream Theater, even though I appreciate all these bands to the nth degree, musicianship-wise. It just doesn't do anything for me. And I don't think Maiden's a prog band, but I guess when you say prog, it's the length of some of these songs. I mean, they're epic's an overused word, but that's what they are. And I don't have to tell you this, but they used to just put one on each album, whether it was To Tame a Land or Alexander the Great or Seventh Son. They would just put one on.
Right.
Now there's 3 or 4 of these fucking things on the one album. I will admit, I find it a bit exhausting. I don't believe that if you trimmed some of these songs that you would lose the essence of the song. I don't hear that yet. Like, I think they could be more compact. I mean, those last 3 tracks are over 10 fucking minutes. And obviously Steve Harris is into that because he wrote all 3 of those by himself. I mean, I do like Hell on Earth. That last track is awesome. However, man, it's a workout for your ears, man. Like, it's a commitment. And part of me wants it just a little bit trim, a little editing.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But then I go back to, right at the start. We are Iron Maiden, and we do what we want. There are fans out there who have immediately put this, not, at least in their top 5 of Maiden albums of all time, even on the podium of the top 3. I got to do some more work on there. That's not there for me.
But a lot of people like these longer songs, to your point. They love this longer epic stuff.
No, and I think it's because it's almost like, hey, as long as Maiden's playing, I'm listening.
I mean, it's 82 minutes long, and there's 10 songs. I mean, I can do that math. That's an average of 8 minutes a song.
Well done, you.
You like that?
I like that.
And those last 3, back to the Steve Harris, the trifecta there, they start the same. They both start out with that acoustic thing. Like, you couldn't even mix that up a little. Like, I'd be hard pressed to tell which one it was 5 seconds in.
I don't know which one I'm listening to. I really don't. Oh, sorry. You just said Death of the Celts. I got it.
I'm going to hear it now.
Right.
You don't know what you're fucking talking about. I just find the themes and the riffs, I triggers other songs I've heard. And I know you could say that about a lot of bands. I get it.
Yep.
It's the gallop or that little Celtic thing they do, and I'm not into that. Like, put on Great Big Sea if you want to get rid of me at a house party. I'll be gone. See ya. I'd be like a Roadrunner cloud. Gone. And I know I shouldn't do this because they're 2 completely different bands, but I'm going to do it anyway. Judas Priest and Iron Maiden get compared all the time.
Yeah.
And the point I want to make is, if you take their last album, Firepower, in 2018, dude, this album rips. It's got energy, firepower. Like, I would rather listen to that album every day of the week than this one. That's just me. I know they're 2 completely different things. I get it. I just wanted some more of that. Do the epic thing, but give me some fucking, I don't know, rock out.
That's Priest doing Priest. But, Nostradamus was their, quote, epic. That's not what I wanted from them, even though there were some ripping tracks. And I think to some degree, I get where you're coming from. And I would have been happier had a new Piece of Mind come out. But I've moved to the side of I'm sure they're thrilled to hear this from me. I've moved to the side of accepting that they're going to give me what they're going to give me. I'm going to buy it in some form. I'm going to listen to it.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want another Piece of Mind, and I don't want them to rest on their laurels. There's just a sameness. As much variety as there is, at least in the first few listens, it's very samey in a lot of spots. If I had to sum up, I mean, overall, I do like the album, and I'm not surprised that much by it. Like, it's kind of what I expected. Maybe I wasn't quite expecting 3 10 to 12 minute songs,
right.
Maybe, but it is in the vein of all these albums they put out lately. It is in that zone. It's not like it's, oh my God, they're doing a fucking funk album or something.
Right.
It still sounds like Iron Maiden. I don't love it. To me, it doesn't live up to their past, but I mean, how do you do that anyways? I don't care what band it is. You can't really do that, but they just keep putting out quality stuff, and they try to top themselves. They try really hard, and that's all I can ask for them, right? They're trying. They're not phoning this in. There's no way.
No.
I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 Trooper beers. How's that? How about you?
I can't quite get to 4. So I'm doing 3.5. I think it's a solid record. There's no question. I do think now, having been forced to go listen to it for homework, I'll go back to it more. I'll probably even now double down and go hit some Book of Souls again to see if there's anything I'm missing.
Yeah, and I'm not done yet. Yeah, I'll go to it more than Book of Souls, I think, is my prediction, if I had to compare the 2 again. Okay, man. Well, I guess that's enough, eh? We've talked long enough about Senjutsu.
Almost as long as the album.
Almost, yeah. Okay, man. Thanks again for hanging out. And that was a ton of fun, man. We'll have to do that again, man.
Look forward to it. The next AC/DC album, I'm doing that one.
There you go. Okay, once again, if you're digging the show, tell a friend, hit subscribe, follow us on all the socials. In the meantime, keep rock alive, motherfuckers. We're out.